Welcome to Beginner German, and usually I make videos about grammar or different topics so you can learn vocab. But one of the questions I get the most is how to start learning German or how to reach the next level. So this is what this video is all about, and we're gonna start with A1. So if you have level A1, what should you do? For A1, I would focus on one resource, maybe two, and the first resource would be a language school. Would I suggest that you learn German without a language school? I think you shouldn't. I think a language school gives you structure, especially if you've never learned a language before. Duolingo has no structure. People don't know how to use it. I've taught well over 2,000 students, and everyone who comes in and says, "Oh, I tried Duolingo, I'm doing it for 2 years," they always have gaps. I can ask them questions and they don't know how to answer them. They have no idea about grammar. They don't have the vocab that they should have at that point. And I'm not hating on Duolingo. I think it's a fun game and maybe you can learn some new vocab, but it's not actually for perfectly learning a language. If you do want to use Duolingo, try and watch a YouTube video about how to use it effectively, because there are strategies. People just normally don't know how to use Duolingo, which is why I wouldn't recommend it. Let's talk language school. The most popular one is the Goethe Institute, but I believe it's too expensive, it's too inflexible, and you might meet people that you can be friends with, so that's a pro. But also if you miss one lesson, you have tons of homework to catch up on. I think a better, more affordable option is Lingoda. And also none of this is sponsored, all the resources. I think they're actually great and I will link them below. You can just Google the websites or you can use my link. And if you use the link, that would support my channel. That would be great, but you don't have to use the link. So Lingoda is an online language school. What you can do, you go on their website and you choose your level. So let's say you want to choose A1. So there are different topics. For example, one topic would be drinks and treats or more about me. You can download the topics in advance and prepare. Lingoda also has a language challenge. So if you do the challenge, you get 50% of your money back and you have to attend the lessons 5 times or 7 times a week. You have to check their website, it always changes, for 2 or 3 months. And if you do that, then you will get 50% of your money back. And in 2 or 3 months, you can easily master A1. Also, if you want to try Lingoda, it has a free trial, so you might as well. Resource number 2 is a free resource from Deutsche Welle. It is called Nico's Weg. And you can progress with Nico from A1 to a higher level. So what you do, you can click on a video and watch the video. And then you can click on Start. And here you can find the option Manuscript and also some exercises. So manuscript is great, so you can write down the sentences that are new, the words that are new, and if you need an app or recommendation for an app, you can use Anki or Quizlet. I think I prefer the layout of Quizlet, but Anki already has prepared vocab cards from the Goethe Institute from A1 to B1, and that saves you time and it's free. For level A2, there is not a lot you have to change. So stick with Lingoda, stick with Nico's Weg. You might want to add the book Grammatik Aktiv. Grammatik Aktiv is only about grammar from A1 to B1, and you don't really need it for A1. You can still do the grammar exercises just as a repetition. I highly recommend that book. if you do have time, I would add 30 minutes a week on italki. On italki, you get a private teacher, which sounds expensive, but they have different price points, okay? You can find a teacher that works for you. Maybe you have to pay 10 euros, 15 euros for 30 minutes, but it does make a difference to speak the language. You can, for example, use a video from Deutsch Perfekt, Nachrichten leicht, or an easy German video. Watch that, prepare it in advance, send it to your italki teacher and tell them, please ask me questions about the video, please use the words from that video, so you not only learn the vocab all by yourself, but you actually have to use them. Also, I would recommend go to Google Docs and share the Google Docs with your teacher, so your teacher can write down the words that you didn't know. Also, with an italki teacher, you can ask all the questions you might have. Some teachers have their own methods and their own resources, but you have to find the teacher that works for you. Just because the first teacher didn't work or the second didn't work, that's okay. Just try some of the teachers. They offer trial lessons as well, which are cheaper than the normal lessons, and you will find a teacher you vibe with. At this stage, Nachrichten leicht is a great resource. You can control the speed, and most of the time you can also read the text. I recommend listening to the same audio several times, because each time you will pick up a new word, a new phrase, a new sentence. I believe at this stage everyone knows Easy German. If you don't, I can also highly recommend Easy German.
In deinem Zimmer gibt es heute wieder ein kleines Chaos.
Wie immer.
They have German subtitles and they have the English subtitles right beneath. They also have super easy German, which is also great to listen to.
Kommen, Berlin neu zu entdecken. Und das erste Viertel, das wir neu entdecken.
You can also listen to Deutsch podcast or to one of my videos, but don't stress because you can't understand anything. It's not about understanding everything at this stage. It's impossible. It's still A2. It's just about listening, repetition, and having German all around you. Perfect. Now you reached B1. With B1, you can definitely keep Lingoda. Also, you can keep Nico's Weg. Definitely keep italki. You can now try news in slow German and maybe one of the recommended YouTube channels that I already posted a video about, like Pulsreportage or Arte. Videos are great at that point because you might not understand everything, but from watching the video, it's easier to understand the context, and I think it's more fun to actually watch a video. With B1, you should be able to confidently work in Germany. So what you need is a challenge. I can recommend the podcast from Easy German, and they also have a transcript option, okay? So you can listen to it when you're under the shower, when you do grocery shopping. Just listen and listen and listen. Also look at the transcript. So I would always listen and read the transcript, and after that I would listen to the same video again, because you will think, oh my god, I just learned the word, or oh, I forgot. So you take out DeepL and you look up the word, and this time it will stick. And then I would listen to it again, so the words that you just Googled or DeepL'd will actually stick in your brain. So it's all about repetition. Deutsche Welle has some great free resources as well, like Das sagt man so, Deutsch im Alltag, or langsam gesprochene Nachrichten. And with langsam gesprochene Nachrichten, you also have from A to Z all the words that you need to understand the news, which is also a great free resource. Also, when you're still using italki, which again I would recommend, you can prepare a presentation about a book or a movie for your German teacher, or you can send your teacher a more complicated video from Pulsreportage, for example, and tell them, that's a topic I want to talk about. If you can, again, most of the paid resources have a free trial. italki does not, but the trial lessons are cheaper than the normal lessons. But if you can, try LingoPie together with Netflix, because on LingoPie you can click on the vocab from your favorite Netflix movie and it saves the vocab on LingoPie. And when you look up the vocab flashcard, you can also see the movie clip and see it again in context. They also have different other features which are great. So I recommend LingoPie. B2 and above. You have to expose yourself to as much German as possible. Put your phone into German mode. Read books like Der Vorleser, Achtsam Morden, and you can also watch the series Achtsam Morden together with it.
Ich bin kein gewalttätiger Mensch. Ganz im Gegenteil. Ich habe mich zum Beispiel in meinem ganzen Leben noch nie geprügelt. Und den ersten Menschen habe ich auch erst mit 42 umgebracht.
You can read Fourth Wings in German for my fantasy girlies. Or you can read Sonne und Beton, which has so much everyday German in it. So that's also a great resource. Also, German music. Find a German music artist that you like. Maybe you live in Bavaria, so you need an Oktoberfest playlist. Or you live in Köln, so you need a playlist for Carnival. Or you want to go to Mallorca to the Ballermann, where the Germans party in the summer. For that you need a completely different playlist. And actually the Ballermann playlist is also great for A2, because if drunk Germans can remember the lyrics, you can definitely learn some new words. And if you need inspiration for the Mallorca party one, der Zug hat keine Bremse ist sehr beliebt. Or Geh mal Bier holen is also very known. Grammatik Aktiv B2 bis C1 is also a great additional resource for grammar at that point. You might also notice that Germans use abbreviations. Instead of eine Frau, I would say ne Frau. Instead of beeil dich, I would say mach mal hinne. So to learn that, you won't learn that with your German books. To learn that, you have to watch Netflix, YouTube, series, Tagesschau. That's how you pick up those words. That's also, again, where italki comes in handy. I have German students that I have for years now. Even when they reach C1, we still gossip about trash TV, about relationships, about what's going on in their lives. So you have to speak, and if you can, speak to Germans. And if you can't speak to Germans, use italki. I think some people use Tandem, but Tandem often gets confused as a dating app, I feel like. And you have to speak your language, and then the other one talks back to you in their language, so in German in that case. So I think it's a waste of time. I think, again, italki is the best resource, even if you have to pay for it. If you like news, try Tagesschau, which for me is too boring. I prefer ZDF Magazin Royal or Heute Show. Heute Show is like Tagesschau but funny. Once a week you can try and look at Reverso, where you can write down all the new expressions and sentences you have learned. It's also a free resource. Some podcasts you can listen to are Lanz and Brecht for political podcasts, Mordlust or Zeitverbrechen are true crime podcasts. You can also try Geschichten aus der Geschichte for historical podcasts, but your end game will be Fest and Flauschig and Gemischtes Hack, which is super hard to understand when you're learning German. They basically just talk about their lives. They use so many German expressions and they talk super fast. If you listen to a Geschichte podcast or a news podcast, obviously this language is a bit more, they use more professional words, but when you actually hear some Germans talk, you can really hear with Fest und Flauschig and Gemischtes Hack how people in Germany actually speak. On Instagram, I follow Tagesschau, Welt, Spiegel, all for news. Then I also follow Katapult for interesting diagrams. I follow Ganz schön Tutka, which is a couple and they travel. So if you like travel, they are quite nice. I follow Casa Carlo because I think it's just good vibes and I really like him. Just stick with that over time. Maybe you will find some German friends with time, so that will help as well. You can use, for example, Meetup to meet Germans. And if you stick with that, you will get better and better every time. That's the end of the video. Let me know if you have any questions. I hope this was helpful. Don't forget to subscribe and I see you in the next video. Tschüss!